Deputy's Director's Report of Compliance.
Yes, sir. In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of meetings and agendas were posted and furnished to all news media and persons requesting notification.
Thank you. And can I get the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Again, truly, this is the day that you have made, and we will continue to rejoice and be glad in it. Father God, we thank you for watching over us thus far. We thank you for bringing us to this meeting. Father God, we thank you for the cause. Right now, we thank you for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we go forward with this meeting. And Father God, that everything may turn out like you want it to turn out. Again, we thank you with wisdom, Father God, so you might direct us in the right way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Ms. Fair, you are correct. We can't see two ladies on the ends.
They can see me. They can turn it down into water. I'm fine if they need to tilt it that way.
We'll get through it. All right. So at this time, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Chair.
What is that? A motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. And Mr. Mitchell, did you make a motion?
Yes, so move that we approve the agenda for today.
And who will second?
I second.
I have a second. All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Go down to approval of the minutes. September the 8th, 2022 board meeting. October the 13th, 2022 board workshop minutes. November the 11th, 2022 board canvassing hearing minutes. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve September 8th, 2022 board meeting minutes. Also October 13th, 2022 board workshop minutes. And November 11th, 2022 board canvassing hearing minutes.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Chair, second motion, Mitchell.
Many.
So I have
The motion, I accept the motion, but I think should be added on with any necessary correction in the future.
Well, we've had a motion and a second. Now, we're going to move to discussion. Is there anything now that you would like to see
No,
changed? Or you
that's
good?
usually with the minutes, because sometimes you find something here, something there. I'm not finding anything, but I'm making a suggestion that be added onto the motion.
Okay. So the motion has been properly made, seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Janine, anybody signed up?
No.
No. We have one person out there. Would she like to speak? She's not even listening. Nothing to say? We're going to move on down to Director's Report.
Good evening, board members, chairman, vice chair as well. Couple of things here. Post-election update. I went to the state. A few of the directors were asked to come up to talk about post-election issues that went on during our June and November elections. And things were asked like, where and how did we improve over having the June election related to the November election? What were our challenges, frustrations, and issues with the election? What were the most time-consuming tasks for us? Where were we successful? Where did we fall or lose ground? How can we improve our processes around the technologies we support? Did we need more county training and or better training? Do we need to create better instruction manual documents and videos? And our biggest concern that the directors had was the fact that our e-poll books were freezing on us, and the fact that I wasn't scanning all the IDs like they should. And we have a MiFi that we use from Verizon. The state is looking into something that's called Cradle Point, They're supposed to make things better, but of course we know if you don't have a tower, it ain't gonna make it better. You're still gonna have issues. But it was not just something based in Jasper County, it was South Carolina as a whole. And anybody that used the e-poll books through ES&S, which is the vendor, they experienced the same type of issues with the slowness and freezing and having to go to our manuals. So it was a great meeting and hopefully, again, we'll get things in the future to try to make those e-poll books better, but unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with what we have until that happens. Our ballot on demand is a printer that we have in our office that we can print ballots. Let's say we didn't get our ballots in time from our commercial printers, we can always print ballots and mail them out. We currently have an Oka Data printer in the office. They're looking at getting a better printer, which is through Brother. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but that is something the state is also looking at in the future. Any questions or concerns that the board had about the election in November, other than, again, the electronic poll books issue?
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Talking to your mic, Ms. Bates.
So is these are some of the same problems that you have in Sun City?
That's it?
So we don't have a remedy yet, so down the line we look at it.
The state is looking into it with the vendor, which is ES&S. And we had an ES&S representative on site election day here in Jasper. He was very much aware of that as well. But like I said, it wasn't just a Jasper County issue, it was South Carolina and any other state that was using those electronic poll books, because we're not the only state that uses them.
And we specifically,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, MiFi, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was MiFi.
So it seems like this is happening when there's a large turnout in certain places. We have a smaller turnout, we didn't have that trouble.
I don't know if it was a turnout issue or just the fact that more states are going with the electronic poll books through ES&S. And the fact that we don't have a whole lot of towers in our rural county here and probably in other counties as well. Because like I said, even if they get something bigger and greater, if you don't have a tower to feed off, you're still going to have issues.
So they're looking at working on something like that?
Oh yes, they're not looking at working on towers, but they're looking at trying to speed up the MiFi and make it better and be able to connect up to maybe 5 of our electronic poll books to this particular MiFi.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add to that if I could. Once we find out what direction that the state wants to take in, I would like very much to have whatever devices that they're going to change to allow us to do a test.
Get, the volume, and again, other states involved. We won't know a real test until election time.
Unfortunately, that's true, but just the same, we should find out what kind of a communication we still have with this new device as opposed to the old one. We know that the old one came and went depending on how many people, probably within the entire state, were trying to go through Verizon's service.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have had some kind of a contract with Verizon on amount of transmission of data they would receive. So I'm just curious if they didn't have enough transmission to transmission all the data for the state of South Carolina.
Yes,
that would be my problem.
Yeah, we had a couple of directors, computer savvy. They brought up issues like that as well. And the biggest thing that the state was saying, without the proper towers in your area, you're going to have those difficulties trying to, use that Wi-Fi like that. So it might be bigger where we can add more devices to the MiFi. Some precincts would probably get up to 4 electronic poll books connected to this new system, but I don't know if it's going to take away a lot of those freezing issues until we get.
The other thing I would suggest definitely for training, at least for the poll clerks, as soon as they begin to see a line forming, they should immediately get out those poll books and start using
The paper poll books.
Not wait.
Absolutely, and that's something I spoke to the clerk about in Sun City. You know, had you said the voters were waiting there 3 hours, you know, I would have told you, pull out your poll books. You said you had a line, you know, which they're going to have a line, but if you're just waiting 3 hours, you need to get your manual books out and move a little faster, you know, and you're just splitting that book, you know, A through K, then L through Z, you know, to get the line moving.
Was Sun City the only precinct that had that problem?
No, they just had the line, the long wait.
Okay.
You know, Sun City has over 3,500 voters. They come up in mass volumes at one time. They're going to have a line regardless, but we're trying to avoid the 3-hour wait.
What other precinct had this issue?
All the precincts experience it.
All,
Hilton Head,
I'm talking about
Hilton Head,
in our
the same
area.
thing.
All of them had the freezing experience. I mean, we had it in early voting.
So the smaller precinct had it also?
Yes, ma'am. All the precincts. And like I said, it wasn't just a Jasper County issue.
It doesn't matter on the size of the precinct. What matters is the amount of requests that you're putting out onto a Verizon Wi-Fi network. And if the network can't handle the amount of requests, it's like first in, last out. It's just very slow.
So again, the state is aware of it. They speak with the manufacturer, and hopefully we can get something that'll make it better. I don't think it'll get rid of the problem, but it'll probably make it better for us.
I do have a question for you, Janine.
Yes.
So, in the precincts, when the MI5 starts going down, and if we instruct, as Mr. Bond said, you know, have the paper ready to go just in case that happens, is there any disadvantage when you go to the paper after you've already started on the e-poll books? How do you coordinate those two, the hand?
Okay, our paper manual voter registration list, we always update to let them know that so-and-so has voted absentee or voted early, because now it's early, or absentee by mail. That is noted on that paper voter registration list, and they are given a sign sheet, which is a poll list that the voter actually signs when they check in, but it's just the same process. Show your ID, find them on the roll, have them sign, and proceed to the voting machine. It's just done manually instead of electronically.
But we're doing it the dual way. It's still better than the old way, which was all paper.
Right.
Much quicker.
Absolutely.
And I would say, yeah, as long as, I would say the clerks,
Yes.
I know we'll take care of it.
You know, they'll be instructed in future elections, you know, just call the office, you know, let us know, you know, people have been waiting 2 hours, whatever, and we can just instruct them, you know, go ahead and go to your manual process and try to get the lines down, get the voters in a little faster.
With the electronic and the manual, will that affect any way for the count?
Well, we're not going to do both. If we're doing electronic, we're going to stay with electronic, okay, at that precinct, okay, because we'll go by a precinct basis issue. We won't have all the precincts revert to manual. But if one precinct goes to manual, they're no longer going to check them in electronically. Because there's no way to cross like that.
Right, okay.
Back and forth, but if you start with electronic and then you have to go to the manual poll books, will you be able to reconcile the two because you had previously started?
If you stop electronically, you will not go back to it later on. You will stay on the manual basis. Because electronically, you're checking that person in and it's showing Janine voted. But manually, it's not going to show electronically that Janine voted. Okay? So not that Janine will go back and try it, but still.
Right, but that was my.
Yeah, you'll stick with one or the other.
I know there's going to be a problem.
Yeah, you're not going to jump back and forth, one or the other.
Yeah.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, I heard you say that the line is long and you're using the electronic. I go through the paper.
If you get complaints, people are waiting 2 and 3 hours, they're going to be instructed to call the office to let us know what's going on, and we will instruct them, well, you can go to the paper manually and use it, check voters in. But they would no longer use the electronic device.
Tell me again how the votes will be counted, how everything will be counted, because you said once you go to manual, it will stay manual.
It's just check-in process. The vote is counted on the voting system once you cast it out. It's just the check-in process will go from electronic to manual. That's the only difference.
Question, how do you reconcile shutting off the automatic and the manual? How do you ever, is the automatic ever updated from the manual?
what we do, like in some city incidents, they had 153 voters that went manually, so we had to manually put it in the database that Crystal voted, Janine voted, Mr. Bond voted. We do that manually because in our audit checkout, it'll show you you're missing these number of voters, you need to go back and fill them in. So that is a catch-all that the state does with the audit process.
Did that take quite a while to do it?
It did.
Crystal did.
So I guess the point is, don't go to that until we know we have to.
Exactly. They're not going to do that on their own. They need to contact the office before they go to manual check-ins, and that's a decision that we will make at the office.
Gotcha.
There's another comment that you brought up, and that was that the poll book is alphabetically set up. So if we had to go to the poll book, is it possible for those, let's say you had 2 people on automatic, that gets shoved aside. Now you have 2 more people, possibly 3 people, so you should have 3 people on poll books, so you're not stopping them dead and waiting for the next person in line. So they can come in like A, B, C, I don't know, we say A through something and then D through.
You talking about the manual version?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you can split it up. You can split it up 4.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to do just 2. You can split it up 4 different ways.
As quickly as possible.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And then you'll cut that line down so fast.
Yes. They can split it up however they want to. It doesn't matter. It
But you
doesn't
still
matter.
can't go back to electronic.
No, once you go manual, you're not going to go back. That is correct. Okay, the 2023 SCARE conference is coming up, and those that have made their reservations, I have received your reservations. Thank you very much. I got yours today, Ms. Fair, with your reservation information on it. That Wednesday, the conference starts, so if you want to go back and register to come in Tuesday, because they do have classes that morning, but unfortunately we don't know what they are yet. Okay, so a lot of board members have been, talking about that. Well, I may want to take a morning class. I don't need to be on the road 5 o'clock in the morning to try to catch a 9 o'clock class. So if you want to go back and change it to check in Tuesday, that's fine. Just send me the new reservation. I'll be sending in the checks next week. I'll request for a check next week to do that. But
So
I don't know what the classes are.
So you need it by,
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
But once we find out what they are, if you haven't taken it, we'll just go automatically and throw you in there regardless, So, but if it's something you've taken, we're not going to put you in the class. Yes, ma'am.
For Tuesday, because I asked, I think the day I asked, did they have space, hotel space, if you come in on a Tuesday? And I think they said no.
Yes, just speak with Alan if you have any issues. I'll email you his information. Because in our meeting yesterday, the conference committee met, and a lot of board members did say that they were telling them they didn't have any more rooms at the hotel. We have quite a few rooms put aside, and Alan assured us that you can reach out to him regarding that. I will email you Alan's information so you can reach out to him if you have issues of trying to get a room at the suite on Tuesday. Okay, and as soon as again the agenda comes out with the classes, me and Crystal will check your roll and see if you've taken it. If you haven't taken it, we'll just drop you in the class. Same thing, they got a PM class as well. We'll just drop you in, and that will meet your certification for 2023, so you don't have to worry about any additional classes unless you want to. Okay, and you're still meeting your certification for the 18 months, so you'll get there eventually. Okay, Stevenson's.
okay.
For the, should we call the reservation number first or call Alan first?
No, call the reservation number. Okay, and if you have a problem, them telling you there are no more rooms available, then reach out to Alan and just email him and just let him know you want to change the check-in. Give him your current reservation number, and you want to change the check-in to Tuesday.
Okay, you send out that information tonight?
I will send it out tomorrow.
Or tomorrow?
Probably need to call Alan, because I spoke with reservations today. So I probably need to go directly to Alan.
Okay, I don't know if you get him on the phone, but he's responded to all my emails that I've sent him. I've been dealing with him since I've been on the conference committee. Okay. Okay, you already had your tentative agenda. I already talked about that. And board member Anthony Canick, he's not here tonight, but tonight would have been his last meeting. His term ends December 31st. So he's just going to do a letter because he's not going to sit and wait to be reappointed or appointed by somebody else. So he's going to he's officially done. So he'll send a letter to the governor's office and CNC and the chairman or the voter registration office and the delegation that he no longer will be serving on the board. Okay? And I did order a plaque for him, so as soon as he has come in, then we'll reschedule a date for Dr. Edwards and Mr. Cannon to celebrate them serving on the board. Everyone should have gotten my email about the executive order for the special election for March 7th. Early voting will start February 20th. I've already sent out letters to get to recruit poll workers for early voting as well as election day. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of. And the 20th is that Monday following the scare. So I may disappear to get back early. It just depends on how much we can get done before I go to scare.
Will that early voting be, again, in your office and also in Hardyville?
That's correct. We're going to do, the precincts involved are mainly Hardyville, but we're going to do both offices. I've sent a letter to, an email to the library contacts to make sure we can still use the facility. I haven't heard back yet. You know, I used to give them a few days before I bug them again. I don't see it being a problem, but I wanted to do the office as well, just in case somebody show up and say, I want to vote early. I don't want to not be ready for them. So both locations will be open.
So how many precincts would you need in Hardyville?
We're going to have 5. The Hardyville 1, St. Stephen's. Hardyville 2, Fisher's Chapel. Levy, the Community Center. Hardyville 3, Hilton Head Amenity. And Okatee 2, which is the Okatee Baptist Church. Those 5 precincts have District 2 in their precincts.
So, just not the candidates that ran the first time, but it's open to anyone.
Yes, even the candidates that ran the first time have to file if they want to run. And filing opens the 16th. Our office is closed the 23rd, the 26th, and the 27th, and the filing will close on December 29th.
But only
That has been posted.
Yeah, only District 2.
Only
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Well, District 2 is the only one.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Would you please repeat the precincts that the
Involved. Hardyville 1, St. Stephen. Hardyville 2, Fisher's Chapel.
Okay.
Levy Community Center.
Okay.
Hardyville 3, the Amenity Center at Hilton Head Lakes. And Okatee 2, which is Okatee Baptist Church.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the candidate notice for filing has been posted in the paper. It went in the paper last week, Friday. It was also emailed to the 2 candidates that were on the ballot as well, so they can't say they didn't get it, okay?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, did we ever straighten this out, how this got confused? I understand that this is Margarita, this guy that lives over there, how did he get in District 2? Was that ever straightened out?
It was a coding error, Ms. Fair.
Okay. So now I understand that the state does do the division there and the coding and the district and all like that. So that the state, that was on the state.
It's not that it was a state problem or error or a county error. It was a coding error. It was coded wrong. You have more than one school district in that precinct, so whoever put it in could have just picked up the wrong district. There's no way to point a finger because it doesn't identify who did it.
We don't want to point a finger, but here's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we get this right.
Oh, absolutely.
From my conversation with others, that I know Marguerite is being built up. And so when you wrote the letter, I think that you had given an explanation of, I thought I saw District 9 and District 8 and all of that. Now it comes down to District 2. So I was just wondering how, so we should look at the state as making this issue division, because the gentleman who was running, he's not in District 2.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we
What
couldn't.
district is he in? Do you know?
8, I think.
It was either 8 or 9.
That's
I want to say 9.
8 or 9. That's what I saw.
He's
on
in
that.
District 9. He's in District 9.
Yeah, I saw that on the left.
That is correct.
Mhm.
You know, mapping division of the state of South Carolina, they do our maps.
Right.
Okay, I requested street addressing information for them, you know, to try to catch it. But when you look at what they send, sometimes they report, what we have is right, what they have is wrong. Okay, and then when I send it back to them and say, okay, this is wrong, good catch. So, you know, it's a 50-50 thing. You know, either they gonna catch it or I'm gonna catch it. You know, but unfortunately, you're gonna have issues in election. No election is perfect, okay? But you're gonna have issues. And it's not just in Jasper County, okay? So I'm trying to catch it by doing these street addressing reports, you know, but like I said, sometimes they catch it, sometimes I catch it, or it may never get caught.
So, there's a state map in the office.
There is a map in the office.
Ms. Williams, can you hear me? Ms. Williams?
She muted.
She can't hear me.
She's muted. Yes, I'm muted.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, I know that we were talking briefly about this, and you were saying that the state does prepare these markings, and the office should have. You have a current copy of from the state.
Just like I said, I just got a streeting addressing for them where it was wrong, things I caught that they didn't catch. So you can say the state sent us stuff, the state sent us maps, get that report, and if I catch an error, I gotta let them know it's an error and they'll fix it. So I'm trying to point out, an error can be on their part, an error can be on our part. So I'm not sure what you're trying to get at.
The truth. I'm always about the truth.
Well, I'm not telling the untruth.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what could happen and what has happened since I had the street addressing report in my hand since after the election. Okay, they had Heron Crossing, which is right here by Vinay Funeral Home. They had it in Hardyville. Okay, so those are things, you know, I'm taking my time to go through and try to fix. But unfortunately, like I said, my eyes may not catch it, their eyes may not catch it, but I'm trying to fix it.
So, Janine, it is understood. I mean, I'm looking at 22,000 plus registered voters. And when the error came up, YouTube stayed after hours and y'all corrected approximately 300.
More than that, we went over and went through.
But y'all went through them all, and so as of now, we're good.
Yes.
And that's what we're looking for.
So as of now, we've gone over 300, but the way you were talking, we have much more than.
Oh, I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
That list is this thick.
Yeah. So you and
I'm working on it.
just you, okay, with the state.
I'm talking to them when I find something that's
Right.
questionable, yes.
I do have a question for you, Janine. If someone goes to the DMV and registers to vote, does that have any play in that? That doesn't. I mean, we do
No,
all.
because even with DMV, we don't always get that electronic application. 'Cause we've had that too. Voters go to the precinct to vote election day, and they say they registered at DMV.
Correct.
We have to call the state to verify they registered at DMV in time, so that don't always work either.
Well, as you said, you know, we're going to have issues.
Exactly.
The one thing is, there's a process, and the process, we know we're in the middle of it right now. And but I do think we can discuss about, you know, candidates. You know, I know it's very difficult to look at everybody's 22,000, but a candidate that signs up, you know, maybe the board, we can come up with a way for us to come in and just check on the map for each candidate. And I know in the past, you know, we talked about, you know, parties. This was obviously a nonpartisan, so we'll come up with something.
Yes,
to try
and we
to-
welcome that.
Sure.
We don't have a problem coming back, double checking what we did. I don't have a problem with it, you know.
Well, I don't mean double checking behind you. I'm saying
Exactly.
whatever you think, you know, we can do to try to.
I welcome it.
Because it's been an issue. And,
You know, the maps we have does not have every street listed. And that's the biggest issue, okay? And that's why I asked for the street dressing information from our mapping division, where you have every street listed on there that you can go through and try to pick up where the problem is. Because the list, what it says is, okay, Janine, you got these people in this precinct, we're saying they should be over here. Okay, so I go to the map, look at it, and if they're right, I fix it. But then if I see they're wrong, I call them back, then they look at it again, oh, good catch, Janine, you know, so you get those things.
Well, after the election, and that's what we're kind of here for tonight, is post-election. And so after the election, we can look at things that happened during that election. I didn't see a lot of complaints. I know we've had some issues. I know we've had issues in the past. But one of the things that are reoccurring I see is the Sun City area. That one is the same complaint about the lines and all that. And so I know that one is probably right for a split now, right? By the numbers.
The Sun City?
Yeah. And so, and I don't know how many other precincts, but I would like us, here very shortly to look at all those precincts and maybe come up with a suggestion on which ones we need to consider splitting. And let's go ahead and get that moving.
Absolutely.
And if we split Sun City, that's going to add machines, even if it's two different places. And that is a complaint that we've got to address. And I don't know about the other precincts. Do you know of any other ones that are close?
I mean, we may have to get a precinct in the Margaritaville location because they're growing as well. And the amenity center, while it's good, it's not a big facility. Okay, they're going to be overwhelmed eventually in there, and that's another issue. Margaritaville was a precinct that was split. All of that used to be in Hardyville 1. Okay, and that could have brought on this catastrophe with this district here, this district there as well. Like I said, I'm not pointing any fingers. We found it, we need to fix it. But Margaritaville probably be the next thing we need to look at and getting a precinct on their property.
And I know you've got this election coming up, so I don't want to put a timetable on it, but I would love for the board, whoever can, and you and me, to sit with the powers that be at Sun City, at Margaritaville, whichever ones you think need to be split, and let's see what they can offer as another location, if we can split a location, and let's go ahead and get that going, because people are just, look at the registration of votes. I mean, it's just
absolutely phenomenal. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Sun City does have another building on the facility, on the grounds that we can use, where everybody doesn't have to go to the lake house.
The lake house is the only one that I'm really sure of.
What is the building off of the lake house beside the tennis court?
That's a new building for the golf course. And there's also a new restaurant that's attached to that building. So there was a building, new buildings going up, and I think it was an expansion of the golf course clubhouse and a restaurant, I believe.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So now,
Ms. Dobson had a question too, when you get a minute.
I'm sorry. Oh, Ms. Dobson.
Ms. Dobson.
Are we, go ahead.
Okay.
We'll go to
So
Dobson.
now Margarita, that's the village, right? It is not completely developed.
Correct.
So how much more development is going to be happening there? How much land do they have there?
According to what the builder talked about, it's supposed to be 3,000 what they call rooftops. Okay, and if you multiply that times 2, let's say that would be 6,000, roughly 6,000 people. We'll say.
Residents or people?
And 1/3 of it is completed. So you got 2/3 more to go. And the speed that they're going at right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another 1,000 at least by 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
And for that to be coming over across the street into Hilton Hill Lakes, that won't work. So.
And I just want to point out, if we are going to give or suggest that Margaritaville have their own polling location, we need to do that now before 2024. 2024 is going to be a huge, busy election year.
Right.
So if that's something the board is considering, maybe in our January meeting, we can go ahead and make a decision to do that so we can get the letter to the delegation and get that taken care of before that'll give us a year to get it taken care of.
And again, I know you're very busy with this election, but if you can just give us contact information, I can invite anyone on the board that would like to meet with them, and we can go ahead and get that moving.
Okay.
We've been moving along, and we've been getting these things done. We know how to do it now. We've got to move. We're getting a little bit behind again. Ms. Dobson, I'm sorry, give Ms. Dobson a chance. Can you hear Ms. Dobson?
I can hear you, but I think Spare kind of alluded to what my question was. Being that Margaritaville is not completed and you are having problems, we are having problems with coding and the state coding address and precincts, as you keep adding and somebody goes across the street from someone else, then you run the risk of having more errors. So it's definitely something we need to look at in January so that we don't keep, I know we don't point fingers, but we don't need this in Jasper County. We don't, because we can watch the news and watch everything in every other state, and we don't want to become a part of that every time there is an election that, this comes up. So I really think we need to look at what we can do to rectify this, and it would probably be give them a precinct in Margaritaville, because we, like Ms. Bossy said, 2024 is going to be a huge election. And would be, it's no one pointing the finger, but it happened and it had to be rectified, and we just don't want to keep having to rectify something like precincts every time we have an election.
Well, this board has been very good at getting ahead of some of this stuff, and with this Hardyville thing that we've got the early voting center there, and we've split so many precincts, and nobody likes to split a precinct, but it is absolutely necessary now, and we're going to get it done. Janine, if you'll just get us that information, I will get with some board members, or I'll get with all the board members and whoever can come. We'll sit down, and we always do invite all.
And we do have a committee, but yeah, everyone, of course, is always invited.
I have one last.
Place my name on that committee, please.
Okay.
But I want to add, I thought I heard you say that right now in Margaritaville, they only have a small center there. Something small.
No.
That's okay. So have we looked at what's going on in Margaritaville? What kind of community room they have? Or?
Huge.
Oh, they have a lot going on, so it's not going to be a problem.
Huge facility.
It's just a matter of getting guests, bring it, and I'm sure they want it. So it's not going to be a problem, just letting them stay in their community and
Sure.
That's not
We
gonna
just
be
need
a
to
problem.
meet with the head of whoever
Absolutely.
makes that decision.
Absolutely.
We don't have enough time to talk to this one and that one. Let's go straight to the top, because we got a lot to do.
Yes, I'll find out who that is and let the board know.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
One last question. I don't know if I was dreaming this or not, but see if everybody heard the same thing I did. This is what I heard it with. I heard that the president was talking about the first primary for the general election, not to be held in New Hampshire, but to be held in South Carolina.
The Democratic
Right.
presidential preference primary.
Right. If that happens, what does that mean to us?
You don't have to
Work, busy.
The Republicans have.
And they will have theirs, they're planning to have theirs first. So they're looking at probably having theirs either that January or that February of 2024.
Right. What does that mean? We have to get ready for it.
I'm sorry?
That primary is way ahead of the general election, so what would we have to do for that?
Oh, well, we have them every presidential election.
Right.
Right. So it's just a matter of preparing for that election. And hopefully they'll have, because we've had it on Saturdays. Hopefully they'll have it during the week, but if not, we still do the same thing. Early voting, training workers.
That's 1 day, right?
Right. Yeah. But yes, that has been the talk.
Would that be early voting too?
Oh, every election now includes early voting. Yes.
And the parties have complete control over that.
That is correct.
So we don't have to worry about that decision.
That is correct.
That would make any extra stress upon you.
I may be tired, but you'll see.
You have anything else on special?
Yes, I just wanted to recognize we got a couple of emails, and I did forward this to the board where we got them. A voter and her husband, they went to the early voting at the library, and which was a new voting location. They were very impressed with the election workers. They were professional, pleasant, and helpful. And many thanks to you, your staff, and everyone involved in making the process easy for voters to cast their votes. And then we got one from our dear Mr. Bond, where him and his wife went to vote also at the Hardyville Library. They were very impressed with the library. Crystal did an excellent job setting up all the equipment. This person in a strategic location across the room, made it easy to move from one station to another. Poll managers were pleasant, well-trained, and good stuff. So I just wanted to share that with the board, and the fact, Mr. Bond, So Crystal in action. You know, that's the first time her being out of my presence doing her thing. So glad to hear she's doing a great job. Ms. Williams?
Yes, going back to the mapping, is there any way that we can have the mapping division, since we are updating addresses all the time, notify or send us on a monthly or some type of basis as to what their updates are?
It's not that they're updating. For example, Margaritaville, let's say they got a new street. We
Right.
call our GSI department, which is Georgia Deloach, here at the emergency service office, and we'll say, okay, Georgia, we don't have this street on our map, so where is this street located at? And she'll tell us it's between this one, between that. So we go to that map and we look at that street, okay? And usually right before every election, now that we know we have this street system available, we can reach out to the map division to say, okay, it's January 1, send us a street addressing issue to see if we have any issues going on in Jasper County. But it's not an issue of the state or the map division doing something wrong. Because they, like I say, they may think that they did it right, and if I get that street report, then I can look and verify, yes, it's right, no, it's not right. But we both can fix it together.
Yeah, but can it be on a basis where we're not up at the date of time of elections or whatever have you, that can be updated so that we know when a person files that they are in the district that they say that they're in?
Yes, ma'am, we can make that request. That's what I was saying. That's something we can do every first of the year.
Sometimes there's audio that we can't. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. In your package as well is the budget performance report for your viewing to see expenses that we've had in the budget thus far this fiscal year. Also in your report, our total registered voters as of November 27, 2022, our total is 22,657. Since our last report back on September 4th, we have 576 new voters. Okay, Hardyville 3, 2,399, which consists of Margaritaville as well as Hilton Head Lakes and some of the streets out there as well. And Sun City is now 3,647 as of November 27th. I'm sure that's increased, but if you look at it, you'll see the increase in the various precincts. And again, don't forget about the SCARE conference, and the theme is denim, diamonds, and pearls. So ladies, get your diamonds and your pearls, and the men get your denim, jeans. You can get some diamonds on your jeans too. And as of right now, the persons attending the conference is myself. Mr. Zoe, are you going?
I may have a conflict.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Mitchell, Ms. Stevenson Stewart, Ms. Dobson, Ms. Fair, and Dr. Parker. Okay, and we pay a membership dues to be a member of SCARE. I pay that for everybody, which is just $50 to keep you active in the SCARE organization. So the conference fee is $200. So those are going, our fee would be a total of $250, which the county takes out of our budget. And again, give me your hotel information ASAP so I can submit that check, because we have to send the check in advance. And that's all I have.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
now you know there's a parking fee also.
Yes, I have that on there.
Oh, okay. And Mr. Chair, I want to come back again. I don't want to belabor this, but certainly we have to do something. We have to work closely with the state and with this office in making sure that the division of districts and wherever people are voting at, we need to go back and forth. It's not a thing of pointing fingers, but we do need to work together so that we'll have this straightened out by the next election, that we won't have this come upon us again.
Sure.
Okay,
And if
guarantee
any
we
board-
definitely
if any
need
board
to
member
work
has
together.
any-
No guarantee on
If any
that.
board member has any suggestions, I think one suggestion has already been made to Jean. She's already, I think, had that in the works, working with the state. And if any suggestions that we have, let's talk about it.
And there's not a thing that you can run over and say, that's it. we need to work together on this.
Yeah, and the point is, we do need to work together.
Okay.
So at this time, I'm going to move down to Chairman's report, and I have very little to say that I haven't already talked about. So I'm going to open the floor to board issues or concerns.
Well, I think I just said my concern.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely, all parties who are involved, the developers, the state, and this office, we definitely need to work closely together and see how we can eliminate this from coming up every year or every other year.
Okay. Anyone else that hasn't spoken?
Yeah, maybe this is too premature, but what if Margaritaville says no?
We'll go from there.
Is the community center gonna kick us out?
No, I said Margaritaville.
Say no to a polling place?
Yeah.
It's always a risk.
We're gonna have to go to across the street, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue. I'm pretty sure they were well, because when we did a voter registration drive out there, they even asked why we don't have one here. So I don't think that'll be an issue.
The other concern that I have was, it seems to me when we were at a meeting this past summer in Hardyville, and we were presenting our budget, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
Some other discussion that came up during that same period of time was planning. And one of the things I think that our chairman brought forward was for those developers who are developing these mega places, 1,000 homes or et cetera above that they should be or must be, I don't know how the wording would go, to make sure that they would have a place for the people to vote at. And I think that was presented to the town. Does anybody know whatever happened to that?
No, it was just something that we presented to them, but nobody has said anything, yes, we're gonna do that, no, we're not gonna do it. It's just something we wanted to put in their ear that they should definitely look into. And I spoke to Chairman Ozello about the satellite office down there. I don't know if everybody's familiar where the old McDonald's was down there in Hardyville on Highway 17. I looked in there, it doesn't have an ownership or anything. I've reached out to some folks in Hardyville. It was bought by somebody, I think out of Savannah, that I was told. I hadn't been back since. I don't know if you went back and anything new.
I found the owner's name on a map.
Okay.
It should be the latest and current owner.
Okay.
There was no, I don't have information for that.
Okay.
It's something we can.
Because that would be the ideal spot if we can get it. I mean, so I'm hoping that's something, but I don't know. They may probably want to sell it to make a restaurant. I don't know. But I just saw that facility and nothing is in there. So.
Ideal spot for what?
A satellite office in Hardyville.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to just touch on what my friend said about big developers coming in. When I sat on the planning development in New York, there are a lot of people who want to come in and build. It goes back to the county. That's where it goes. I think we touched on this before. When they come in and they want a piece of property to develop, at that point they negotiate. Well, if you want to come into this community, here's what we're looking for when you come into the community. We would like to have space for this and space for that. So it starts, it doesn't, and this is the end point right here, it starts at the beginning.
Now that's why I mentioned probably our first conversation will have to be, and I've forgotten what the lady's name was, but she's head of planning, or at least for the Hardyville area. So.
Well, Mayor Williams is aware.
She's the one that works with the developers.
Mayor Williams is aware of that statement, and our county council board is very much aware of that statement as well. So.
And both the county.
They're aware of it, but what are they?
Both
what are
the
their
towns.
intentions?
Both the towns.
I can't speak for them, Ms. Bailey.
So let me just say real quick, that both the town and county negotiate development agreements. And while sometimes a development comes in like Sun City and they'll put it on a fireplace, and sometimes they'll put it in a playground. And sometimes counties pay developers or give them land to bring in certain development. So it's a negotiation used by the administrator. There's not the person that would handle that would be the administrator and then those councils. But don't think that you are going to force everybody to do one thing. It's all negotiation. But we have strongly urged Hardyville, especially, on some of those developments. So just look at it when they come in and try to see if there's something they can negotiate in, because we have to have places to vote, just like they have to have fireplaces. And not necessarily Sun City, they're not gonna have playgrounds, but there are certain things that they bring in.
Absolutely.
And so they're working on it. We've already discussed it. and tried
Because
to-
it was brought up before,
Yeah.
I don't know how far it was carried, but it was brought up before.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, we can't do anything. We made our statement, what we would like to see happen, but we don't have no control if it happens or not.
No, we're not going
But
to.
we made our statement.
So certainly they know the need and.
So do we have anyone that hasn't spoken to this, board issues and concerns? Having none, I'm gonna move down to topics for the next meeting. Janine, yeah, if we can go ahead and get that list of the numbers on the ones that you think are right for splitting, and get us the information of who we
Okay.
can try to contact. And if you can't find it, we'll work as a board and we'll help you with it, and get that put together, move that along. Any other topics for the next meeting?
Are we going to be continuing to work on the districting and between this office and the state and whoever else is involved? How are we going to be doing
As I
You
stated, I have the list and I'm going through it.
that? Okay.
You're welcome to come in,
Oh, now I was going to ask you that. What's a good time to come in?
okay? You can't touch any of the equipment, so you can come in if you want to sit there and watch
Will
me.
be on the wall.
The map is on the wall.
Okay. And so
Anytime.
when you do the correction, or when you see something wrong, you do the correction.
I correct, I make the contact
Uh-huh.
and we both compare the
By
answer.
computer.
Exactly.
Okay.
I make the contact verbally on the phone and we both look at the computer.
And I think
Okay,
that's
so I'm
what
gonna
Ms.
cut you
Williams
off
was
right there
talking
because
about.
we're out of order, we're way out of order. Now, we're still.
Yeah, I think this is
topics
important,
for the-
Mr. Chair.
But if you have a topic for the next meeting, please present it, because I want to keep this on.
I just did.
Okay, so-
No one else is saying anything,
So
I think it's important.
what would the topic be?
Just what we just discussed on, how the districts are divided, what are we gonna do? Ms. Williams talked about, can we get an update? Where every time there's correction made. I didn't hear no response on that.
Okay. Well, we can formulate that to, put in the next meeting. Does anyone else have a discussion for the next meeting? Having none, I thank everyone for coming tonight. And can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I motion we adjourn.
Have a motion?
I second it.
Have a second? All in favor of the motion? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.